autism awareness angel, making sure my wings protected different. The stranger than I'm an autism awareness angel. It's good cause I'm cool with the unique behavior. I'm an autism awareness angel. Will you accept me? Cause I accept you. I'm an autism awareness angel, cause a view from the spectrum is a better point of view.
Hello and welcome back to Autism 30. I'm Tally, and today we are speaking with Miss Carrie McLellan-Haqq, coordinator of the Supported Child Development Program, and learn about this wonderful resource that is out there to help. The Supported Child Development Program, also known as SCDP, is part of the Richmond Society for Community Living, also known as RSCL, that also offers programs through the Lifespan, Infant Development Program, Treehouse, Early Learning Center, Youth Connection Program, Family Resource Program, and Family Respite, are all offered through the RSCL. Ms. McLellan-Haqq holds a diploma in early childhood education as well as special needs certificate that she completed at Douglas College in New Westminster and has been working in the field for nearly 20 years. She also developed and co-facilitated various training sessions and is a member of committees. She has been working at Richmond Society for Community Living for the past 10 years and has been with Supported Child Development Program for over 17 years. Welcome, Carrie.
Hello.
What is the Supported Child Development Program and what services do you offer our community?
We're a community-based program that has been operating in Richmond for the last 20 years. We offer supports to children and families with developmental disabilities or delays so that children can attend their community-based childcare program.
And are your services only open to residents of the City of Richmond, or do you have offices and programs located around the province of British Columbia?
SCDP is a provincially funded program, and we're funded through the Ministry for Children and Family Development. So there are programs in each community throughout the province. Our focus is mainly Richmond, though if there is a child who, say, moves up to Prince George, we can transfer the file with the family's permission. We do have transfer forms where we send all the support guide. It's a document that we work with the parents to collect information about their child. We would send up the transfer information as well as the support guide. If a family wants to access a program outside of Richmond, they would contact their local development center or their community living agency. They're typically the ones that hold the contracts with the ministry to provide supported child development services.
And I'm assuming this applies to all offices around British Columbia as well.
It does.
Now, what is the philosophy of the Child Development Program and the Richmond Society for Community Living?
Our philosophy is in inclusion. We support the rights of all children to participate in natural community childcare settings. RSCL supports people through the lifespan, so we offer community-based programs so that people accessing our programs are able to participate in their community and are accepted within the Richmond community.
Do you work in collaboration with all other programs that the Richmond Society for Community Living offers?
There are various children's services. There's the Infant Development Program, which we receive referrals from. There's also Children's Respite, where we may work in partnership. There may be a family that is accessing respite services as well as supported child development, so we work together. As well as we have an inclusive preschool daycare program called Treehouse Early Learning Center, where there's children who are on our caseload attend that program. As well as there's a program, Youth Connections, and there's children who often have access supported child development services who will go on to attend Youth Connections.
Now, who can be eligible for services? What kind of challenges qualify?
Children that have a developmental delay in one of the following areas, whether it be physical, cognitive, communication, social, emotional, behavioral, developmental delay, or disability.
Now, what types of support do you offer?
Well, we have a range of support. So the first service range would be consultant support. So that would be for a child who is attending a preschool or daycare out of school care youth program and just requires the consultant to go in, make suggestions, recommendations to the staff, maybe provide some training. There are some children who require, a lower ratio to participate in their childcare program. So we can go in and we contract with childcare programs to hire extra staffing, and they would hire an extra staff person. In some situations, there may be, a couple different children that are attending the program, and we've put in extra staff. And the last level of service would be a child who needs sort of ongoing extra staffing support. They may have high medical needs or physical needs or behavioral needs, and so they need an extra staff that's with them. So in all situations, though, we do provide consultant support.
And you really do work collaboratively as a team with other members of the community to help children.
We do. We are part of the team, and quite often we kind of pull the team together to ensure that the child is being best supported in their childcare program.
Now, how do parents and people access your services? Can they apply themselves, or do they have to be referred to you by a community professional?
We receive referrals from families directly and or community professionals. It's absolutely essential that the parents consent. They sign the form, that we won't accept referral forms without having the parent's signature on there, so that there's not a professional who just sends off the form thinking that it would be a good service for the family. They have to give consent. And so families can apply directly to us. Our referral form is located on our website, which is www.rscl.org, and it can be found there.
Now, who qualifies as a community professional?
Well, we work in partnership with a lot of speech therapists, occupational therapists, as I mentioned, IDP. There may be social workers, just the full gamut of different professionals. We require that families provide us some type of documentation that notes that the child's having some delays or has a diagnosis. So we require a report to go along that supports the application for our program.
So that would be from their psychologist or doctor, correct?
It could be a speech report. It could actually be a childcare program. There's often times where a child may not have any services involved yet, but they're having some significant challenges in their childcare program. And so in that situation, we would ask the childcare program to do some observation and give us sort of the anecdotal information and where the concerns are. Because quite often we may be an entry point for future services. So there may be, we don't want to discount somebody because they don't have professionals involved.
Absolutely. Now, when people make a referral to you, what documents would you like to include with the application? What are all the documents that they need to have with an application?
Quite often a family has a whole repertoire of different reports, and we just ask for what's relevant for the services that we're going to provide. So it could be a speech report, it could be a speech assessment, it could be a Sunny Hill report, it could be another diagnostic report that they've received elsewhere, but it has to just be something that notes the delay or the challenge that the child's having, and that we just need with the referral.
Now, when applying to the Supported Child Development Program, do they have to submit an individual application for each program that the Richmond Society for Community Living offers, like the Infant Development Program, Treehouse, Youth Connection Program, Family Resource Program, and Family Respite, or is one application enough for all of them?
We're a CARF accredited organization, and as part of that, we do require an application for each program. There are families that are part of IDP, and they would need to fill out an SEDP referral for our program. With being a partner program within the same agency, we don't need all the documentation that they've already provided IDP. It just smoothly runs over to us. When they become part of the Youth Connections program, they do fill out their referral form, because quite often the information's changed, so they would be required. But there again, any of the documentation that we've collected over the years in supporting the family would go forward to Youth Connections.
Now, once the application is received, then what happens?
We open up a file. We have an electronic database called ShareVision, so we would open an electronic file, and a paper file is also made. We look at if the child's attending a childcare program that we already have a consultant in place with, that file would be passed along to that consultant. It's a way that we manage the caseload, but also support the program by only having one consultant per program. If there's not a consultant assigned to a program that the child's attending, then we do a phone intake initially just to find out more information. And once that's happened and there's space available on a caseload, the file's passed on.
And approximately how long does this process take typically?
It varies from situation to situation as well as the time of year. Fall, typically everyone has their caseloads built, and we do have fairly high caseloads. We do have a wait list for our service, and we have a wait list in all aspects of our service. That's one of the challenging parts of our program is we are fully funded through the Ministry for Children and Family Development. So once we've utilized all those funds, there are our wait lists. So it all depends if a child needs some extra staffing supports, and whether it be shared or ongoing, or if they're in a center that we're not in. So it's all based on an individual basis.
Now, what are the maximum and minimum ages that you work with?
We support children birth up to their 19th birthday if they're attending childcare programs. And so if a family has a 1-year-old that needs daycare, we would support that family in the daycare. And so we go the full range of child.
Do you offer the extra support you make recommendations for, or do you make recommendations for the extra support? Do you know what I mean by that?
I do. Yeah, we contract with each childcare program to hire their own staff. We believe it's important for childcare programs to work as a team, and that the additional staff person hired is part of that team. There are times when we meet with a family and we complete intake in the support guide, which is the child profile of information. And there may be a certain skill that a staff person would need to have. And so we may suggest when they're looking for an extra staff person that the person has particular experience or skills that meets the needs of the child.
Now, how does your organization work with, let's say, a behavior interventionist?
That would have the family contact us with the behavioral interventionist. So often there's times where the behavioral interventionist is involved, and they may go into the childcare program. And we also are involved in the childcare program, and there's extra staffing. So we do work in partnership, but we are linked through the family.
Now, what about the preschool staff if the child is attending preschool?
We're most in touch with the preschool staff and any childcare staff that are there. We do go in, we make regular visits, and those visits are based on need. And so whether it be the family's need for us to be going in, a need that we see that the staff need more of our time, or if the staff are requesting us to come in. And so when we go in, we do an observation visit. We do make some recommendations and suggestions to the childcare staff. And we do leave a visit note that kind of follows up on some things that we've observed or some ideas that we have for them.
Now, what about the elementary and secondary school level?
Well, we support families through the kindergarten transition. And so often we attend the transition meetings in the spring, just prior to the child entering kindergarten in September. And we often will attend, if we have a school-age child on our caseload, we'll attend the individual education plan meetings. And that way there we can carry some of those goals back to the after-school care program. And if there's a transition, we often attend, when the child's going into high school, we'll attend the transition meeting that occurs between elementary school and high school. And there again, if there's an IEP meeting, then we can attend those.
Now, if the child is not yet 19 and they're attending college, how do you work at the college level?
Well, we provide information about the different college programs. There's other programs within RSCL that are involved in the college level. And so there are times, there has been times in the past where children or youth are attending a college program and say may still attend a youth program because they haven't reached their 19th birthday yet.
Now, what are the other people that I haven't mentioned that you work with typically?
Well, we get a lot of referrals from our community health care nurses. They're in the preschool and daycare programs, and often they're the people who maybe get called on first. And so we do receive quite a few referrals from the health nurses within our community. They're one of our community partner. We also work with the licensing officers. They're one of our community partners as well because they're in childcare programs, as are we. We also work with the PACE program, and that's a program that supports children with some behavioral needs. So there may be a congruent referral that's in for PACE and for supported child development, and then we just have a conversation on who's going to take the lead. And so quite often PACE may take the lead in a situation, and then we will come in after their services are finished because ours are ongoing.
Now, what's the procedure? Parents obviously get involved, but what's the procedure between you working with an organization?
Well, for us, as I mentioned, there is a referral form and parents have to sign the consent. We also have a consent form of, who is involved in the parent's life, in the family's life. We also do child and family support plans, and so those are goal plans around goals that will happen in the child care program, and it could be at home or in the community as well. And so parents do sign a consent form on who's going to receive that plan as well. So it's really parent-driven. There are times when we're contacted by people that we don't have consent for, and we just follow up with the family to ensure that there is consent given.
Which is really important, and I think it's really important for parents to know that this is really parent-driven. Now, how much does this cost?
Well, there's no cost for our service. As I mentioned, we're funded through the Ministry for Children and Family Development, so all our funding comes through there. Though parents are responsible for paying the space fee, and so we do help families complete. The Ministry for Children and Family Development has childcare subsidy, and when you have a child with a developmental disability, there's an additional $150 special needs supplement, and supported child development consultants are one of the people who are able to sign that form for families.
Now, I know you have these wonderful events that you do throughout the year, but what types of events do you put on for families throughout the year?
Well, one of the main things that we do is we do have a kindergarten parent panel meeting that takes place in January. It happens ahead of time of the school transition meeting. We welcome families back that have gone through the kindergarten transition in the past so that they can be peer mentors to other families who are going to be coming through. So that happens jointly with other agencies. That's through BC Centre for Ability, as well as the health department and ourselves put that on for families. And it's always a well-attended, usually upwards of about 45 parents come out to that training. We also offer, different parent training through the year, and it may be around challenging behavior. We have a parent support group that we work in collaboration with BC Centre for Ability, the Health Department, IDP, and the Richmond School Board, which is a wonderful partnership that the school board has an opportunity to meet families that we are supporting in a very casual, non-threatening environment, and they are also then seen as our partners with the family. So we offer that. That happens 4 times a year. We also, within RSCL, we have the Children's Christmas Party that happens in late November, December, and that's always well attended. There's usually upwards of about 250 families that we take over the South Arm gym at the South Arm Community Centre. And we also have the RSCL family picnic that happens in the summer, and that's also a well-attended event.
Can you tell me about some success stories you've had?
When I think of a success story, I think of a particular, well, he's a young man now. His mom had come to our program, and they hadn't received any early intervention services. The child had just recently received an autism diagnosis. He hadn't been in any formal childcare program. He was basically at home with his dad, and he was able to do sort of his own sort of self-driven, whatever he wanted to do. And so Mom was referred to us through a social worker. She came to us, as I mentioned, the child wasn't in kindergarten, he was eligible to actually be in grade 1. And so what we did first was we got him registered for school, and then we looked at all the other different services that needed to happen. We got him registered in an after-school care program. And he went on to be really successful, very well included. Mom, when I first met her, had concerns about even taking him out to McDonald's because she couldn't manage his behavior because he was so used to just being sort of doing what he wanted to do. And so we got her feeling confident through the use of visuals and schedules and social stories to be able to take him out into the community. He was very well successfully included in his after-school care program. And
Which
then
is great.
Yeah, it was such a huge success for that family, that mom, and for the young man. And
I can imagine.
Yeah, and it was wonderful. He went on to come back when he went to high school, volunteer in the after-school care program.
That's not a success story. That's a triumph story.
Yeah,
that's wonderful.
Wonderful.
And do you have any others?
Well, I think often when we go into childcare programs, I think of the other kids, all the kids that are there. And, there'll be times where we'll bring in visuals, and where things have come to now where it's just commonplace, that often the kids will come up and say, oh, I know about those, visuals. I have a friend so-and-so who uses them. And just recognizing now that children are included in their childcare programs, we have come a long way around acceptance and just having friends and being peers within the childcare program.
And I agree. And I know as a teacher, one of the things that I found about going through this program is that a lot of the recommendations that you do make don't only help our children, but help typical children as well.
They do, and when I think of the visuals as an example, often those visuals will help new children that are attending the program for the first time. They can look and see what they need to be doing. There's children where they might not have English as their first language that they need a visual, and other children that just need some assistance around, scheduling and knowing what they need to be doing.
And absolutely. Now, I know I'm stating the obvious, but I do want you to answer for everyone to listen. What do you believe are the strengths and benefits of the Richmond Child Development Program?
Well, I think that I think of how many children over the years that we've supported to be successfully included in their child care program. And I think the real strength is allowing that to happen, and for families to be relieved that their children can go to preschool and daycare and out-of-school care and youth programs with their peers in their community and be included in kindergarten and go to school. And, it always amazes me. We have families from time to time that don't realize that. They may be from a different country, and they may not understand that children are children, and in Canada and in Richmond we accept and honor children as individuals, and that all the kids can go together.
So you've mentioned other countries, not to cut you off. Do you have translators that you work with that could help families, let's say, that don't speak English or French?
Whenever we have a family that speaks a different language than we do access someone to come in. We really feel that it's important that families understand our service, that they're signing consents to something that they fully are aware of and understand. And so often we access through either RSCL or outside agencies. We'll access people so that we have a translator available.
That's great. Now, finally, a question that I ask everyone. What is the one thing you would like the world to know about autism?
That every child has potential. When I see some of the children, we first meet the families, and the child may be having some challenges, but we put some things in place where the child is able to learn and be part of their child care program and make friends and go with others in their community. It's wonderful.
I want to thank Ms. McLellan-Haqq for being with us today and sharing her knowledge. We also want to remind you to subscribe and join our mailing list to receive information about upcoming podcasts and information. And if you're listening to us on iTunes, don't forget to write in a review and like us and join us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Google+. And don't forget to send in your questions if you want to ask our parent panel or myself questions. please send us an email and we'd love to address and answer them. You can do so from our webpage at autism30.com and click the word contact. Once again, thank you, our wonderful podcast audience, for joining us. And until next time, this is Tally telling you to live in love.
Hey yo, I'm an autism awareness angel, making sure my wings protect the different, the stranger than. I'm an autism awareness angel. It's good, cause I'm cool with the unique behavior. I'm an autism awareness angel. Will you accept me? Cause I accept you. I'm an autism awareness angel, cause a view from the spectrum is a better point of view.